What's up, guys? Welcome back to another build video of sorts. Today we're just getting the car ready for its turbo. I've already got some stuff done, like turbo manifolds. These are done. These are off of a 6.0. They switch sides obviously, but they got the 2.5 inch V-bands welded on, V-band clamps ready to go. This heat shield I'll probably retain because it goes on the passenger side, and that's where the water lines are, and I just want to keep as much heat away as possible. They'll get wrapped and probably coated and all that stuff, but yeah, today we're mostly focusing on oil lines, getting them taken off and resituated to see if I got to make new lines or use what I have if I can. I don't know. I don't even know if I've got any 10 a.m. line. Hopefully I do. What I've done so far has gotten oil lines disconnected from the oil pan right there. And they came up through here. One connected to this, which back to the AccuSump, and the other one went to the oil filter, which was right here. It's now right there. It's going to get mounted probably somewhere in this area. And the goal is to move every bit of oil line to that side of the car as well, just like the water lines. All oil lines will be over there, and my turbo will sit literally right here. My exhaust will run through here and will shoot down through there. And I'm doing that to keep every fluid isolated from heat. I want the turbo over here, just, it's simplicity. There's a lot more room over there just from, I don't know, just the way these engines sit in the car. If I feel like there's, you know, if I get rid of all the oil lines over here, put everything over there, water lines, oil lines, fuel is even over there. It isolates all of that away from the major heat that will be coming off the turbo. And it's going to be far enough away from the brake master cylinder that won't matter. And the power steering lines, they're already heat protected and they're coated and everything, so they're not going to get hurt. I'm playing around with this sway bar down here. I've never ran a sway bar. This is an ISR sway bar that I've had laying around. I do have an OEM sway bar, which it looks like the way that this is bent in a little bit more and curves out will work better with the tension rods instead of swinging way out and then bending back. So I need to play around with that a little bit. I really need to clean the shop, get it finished. I cleaned all that side, made a welding table and stuff, but I still need to clean this side of the shop and get rid of all this junk and put bolts and stuff where they need to go. We had a problem with our rear control arm was broken. The sway bar pickup for it had sheared off, I don't know, back in April at our Talladega event. I found it like a week before Clutch Kickers. I tried welding it on the car. Well, after we were loading the car back up at Clutch Kickers, I noticed it was broken again. So we went ahead and, you can't see it now, it's too dark in here. Hold on, there we go. I did take it off completely and made sure that's on there solid now. It's welded, it ain't going anywhere. We also had another problem where last week, or 2 weekends ago now, I was trying to get crazy at Nyota. It was at the end of the day and I was trying to do backwards entries and I messed up, and the front of my car, the wheel, this wheel right here, the driver's side, it came in and hit a curb, or the asphalt, which ended up bending the tension rod bracket. But it bent because I forgot, but on this side, one of the bolts or the nuts that are on the inside of the frame had worn out a long time ago, so it only had one bolt in it. Well, the other day when I took it off, the other nut was sheared as well. So needless to say, I took all that off, I drilled out the holes bigger, I put 2 nuts up in there, welded them, flattened it out, put everything back together. It's really solid now. Hopefully that'll be a permanent fix, because if not, it's gonna be cutting a square hole out and making all new stuff for it, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's not too bad. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to finish taking off these oil lines and get that one over there if possible. Yeah, and see how these oil cooler lines are going to run, where I can mount the oil filter over there, and see what needs to be done. I'm just going to get started. Hey. All right, here is all of our oil system lines that we currently use, besides the AccuSump one that runs from the back, but that one is going to dictate where this is going to sit, just depending on the length, because I'm going to run it from the opposite side of the car now. So I'm thinking it'll sit somewhere right in here, somewhere along here, just however far that line's going to come. I'm going to run it up through these two brake lines, and it's going to sit somewhere right in here. And then that will determine, once I have that sorted, that will determine how long these lines need to be, and if I can make the current lines that I have work. If not, I do have this much 10AN line left, so we'll have to make it work, because I'm broke. I don't have enough money to order, you know, $50 worth more of line. So we'll make this work, which that's plenty actually. So yeah, I'm gonna get underneath the car now, and I'm gonna take apart the AN line that runs from the AccuSump and move it over, route it, and get it all sorted where I'm gonna want it. Because once that's going where it needs to go, I ain't gonna touch it again. Go ahead and crawl under there, do that now, and get back with you once that's done. Okay, that took a lot longer than I thought, but we now have our oil line. I need to cut it off way back here or something. We got the manifold in to make sure that it's gonna clear everything. It's way longer now. It's gonna go up here. I struggled for about an hour to find a good location for the oil filter now, because I don't want it on the side that the turbo is going to be on. But on this side over here, I wanted it right here, just like that side over there. I wanted it here in this area, but where the intercooler is going to come through, which is going to be right here, and then up and then in through here by the power steering pump, and then up into the intake, there was absolutely no room for the oil filter to go there. And I could put it on the strut tower, but then you got oil lines that are that far away. Then you got to worry about, you know, the tire picking something up, throwing it on the oil line, and possibly busting it or something like that. I wanted to keep the oil filter inboard inside the frame. So what I did is down here, I made a bracket, welded nuts on the back of this, so this is bolted. That's on there good. And then just welded that straight to this plate that I already had welded on for the K, or the roll bar here. And I use these Supra filters, these Toyota filter, or it's a mobile one, but it's Supra thread, because this was off my old 2J. But anyways, so that's gonna go in there. The filter's gonna go right there. Easy access for oil changes, stuff like that. I'll have an end coming from the engine. Will come through here into here. It'll come out into my power oil cooler. Jesus. Out the oil cooler, back in through that will go through the one-way check valve and back into the engine with the AccuSump stuff and all that over there. Yeah, so that's done. I'm out of time. I got to go to work, so I'll have to pick this up either tomorrow or the next day, whenever I can get back in here. I did find a sway bar that will work, not the ISR one that I had, but I have a actual 240 one. It's either S13 or S14, but it's gonna fit perfectly between, you know, the oil pan and my bent tension rod things. It's gonna work out great. I just need to get some bushings and mounts for it, and some new, possibly shorter sway bar end links. But needless to say, progress is progress. I'm done for today. But as you can see, this whole area is cleaned out, besides this plate, which I'm gonna leave the plate here. I might make that part of the turbo support mount, because I do want the turbo right here. So I don't know if it's gonna point this way, that way. I wanna keep as much heat away from the alternator as possible, so I'm gonna get a shorter belt, which will take it in, you know, that way, about a 1/2 inch, maybe a 1/4 inch. And here I still, you know, I can fit a finger through here, so there's still some still room between there, but that's still a concern. So I'm going to obviously either ceramic coat the manifold or just paint it with a high temp heat paint and then wrap it, just keep all that excessive heat away from the alternator. But that side of the engine is clean now, so I have plenty of room to work. Got all the manifolds, everything's angled correctly, all the wires and lines are out of the way for the exhaust tubing to run across the engine. All of my coolant lines, oil lines, fuel lines, everything is on this side of the engine now. So, you know, coolant, fuel's back there, and we'll have oil lines that run along this frame here and then drop back down in that big hole. So there's plenty of room for everything to fit. Everything's gonna work out great. Just need a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and we'll get this thing knocked out. But until then, we're just gonna pick this up tomorrow or the next day, whenever I can get back in here. All right, we're back. It is a couple days later now. Had a lot of stuff going on, but we are back. I'm going through the oil lines right now. We've got a bunch of stuff just laid out here. I got this line that fit and it's already there, but I'm gonna need this 90. So what I'm gonna do is down here, the fittings come out on the other side of the oil pan. You can barely see them right there. I'm gonna have them come across through this little alleyway here between the bell housing and the power steering lines. They're gonna come through there, run up by the starter, come through this little hole here, and then I'm gonna attach them somehow to this frame rail. My one-way check valve and T for the AccuSump will go somewhere in this area, and then we'll run the lines through probably this hole. Intercooler piping will come through here somewhere and go down to oil filter slash oil cooler. So we'll have a line that comes out from the oil pan and it will come all the way up to this. It'll go through the filter, come out, in through the oil cooler, out through the oil cooler, through the one-way check valve, and then back into the engine from there. And then the AccuSump will tee in there as well, you know, after the one-way check valve. So, needless to say, unfortunately, I don't have all the fittings I'm going to need. I think I need 2 more 90s at minimum. I'm going to try and use what I do have. Hopefully I can find a right combination of fittings, but I do know it's such tight clearance down there. I'm going to need the 90s that come out of the oil pan. So if I have to use 45s for everything else, then so be it. As of right now, I've only got 3 90s, so I've got to use them sparingly. But with that being said, I'm just gonna find out which line I can use and then tear the rest of them apart. So let's get started. Okay, that is now securely mounted, securely enough. Once all the hoses are tied, it'll be better, but yeah, and I've got this line on. It's ran under, it's not attached yet, but we'll do that right now. Crawl under. lines are done. Really need to run this on the inside, but I'll do that. Well, all this stuff's got to come back apart, honestly. But for now, that part's done. And now the only line left will be, pretty sure, using this to run from the back of the oil pan over into the front of the oil filter. Okay, I am done for the day. I have gotten all the oil lines made except for one. It's just this one right here. It's the out of the oil filter into the oil cooler. I do need like 290s. Just the way they are, it's gonna be tight. So we have a line coming from, we have both lines coming out of the engine, which are right there. Running up into the oil filter straight. This line will connect here. This one comes out. You follow it through, and it goes down into the one-way check valve, which then comes out down here and goes back to the engine, and then this one goes to the AccuSump. Now that that is complete, or mostly complete, I've got to order 2 fittings to finish that one line, but I've got a little bit of time. Next we'll be taking off the alternator, crank pulley and all that, pulling the front timing color, and even putting a bulkhead in for the oil drain, or ordering a front cover that's already got it put in. I'll probably just do the bulkhead, which is drilling and, you know, putting some bulkhead fittings in. And then yeah, moving on to the next thing, which will be exhaust for the turbo up pipe, or yeah, the hot side of the turbo. I've got some stuff on the way, just need to get it and get started on it. Get all the turbo stuff here, which I've got most of everything needed other than a physical turbo itself. So yeah, well, I'm gonna end this video here. We're gonna start up another one in a couple days whenever I get back in here. But as for now, you know, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. I'm particularly on this build, or this never-ending build. But yeah, y'all have fun.